This is 7-5 Radio with Walter Yerkew and Peter Scoop Stanton. This is the radio show that will break your neck, if your neck needs breaking. And here are the hosts of 7-5 Radio, Walter Yerkew, star of the biggest documentary movie ever made, The 7-5, and Peter Scoop Stanton, who starred in To Catch a Predator.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, one and all. This is Peter Scoop Stanton with Walter Yerkew. We are red hot rolling this Saturday, April 18th, 2026. If you hear some background noise, I am at the birthday party of Ana Estevez. I did the show last year at her party also. And I'm here with a whole bunch of people having a good old time, and nobody, but when I mean nobody, is paying attention to me. Typical. Anyways, we want to say hello and welcome to all of our special listeners, including Little Billy Keebler and the men and alleged women of the Yanadasas, New York Fire Department. New York's finest, New York's bravest, New York's boldest, New York's strongest, those living on Long Island's 2nd Congressional District, as well as all members of ICE and U.S. Border Patrol. Walter, how are we doing tonight, my friend?
Apparently not as good as you.
Yeah.
Are you drunk yet? You drinking?
No, I'm not drinking. I drove. But,
We want to see Danny.
No, she's not here. What? I don't know. She has a life. So, all right, we got our two biggest fans. Our guests from last week, Dan Ruttenberg and Mike the Photo Bomber Foster. Mike wants to know where Danila is, and she's not here. Anyways, unfortunately, Mike Raybrandt is also not with us. He's still recuperating. Godspeed, Mike. We miss you. Anyways, first order of business, we want to remember those members of the law enforcement community who were murdered in the line of duty. Tonight, we remember Agent Eddie Santiago Renta of the Puerto Rico Police Department. End of watch, April 10th, 2026. His 3 killers are in custody. And tonight we have a very special guest. I met him at another function that I go to. His name is Tony Sabio. He's running for Congress in Virginia's 8th District. He is a former hospital corpsman. He is a former employee of the Central Intelligence Agency and an operations leader. And he was a member of the U.S. Secret Service. Tony, welcome to 7-5 Radio.
Hey, Scoop, thank you so much. Sounds like you're having a good time over there.
Right. Tony, right off the bat, I got a couple of questions. With CIA, were you an employee or a contractor?
I was an employee. I had the pleasure. I actually got recruited out of the Secret Service into the CIA.
Okay. And for Secret Service, were you a special agent or a uniform officer?
I was a uniform officer with the ERT team. It's the SWAT team over there.
Outstanding. Our buddy Gary Byrne, he was also a member of the Secret Service Uniform Division. Anyways, Tony, talking to you a couple weeks ago, I was just absolutely blown away by what you had to say on the current events. And this past Friday, when I was talking to Walter, you called, and you had the same perspective on Iran as Walter. I was like, this guy must have been eavesdropping our conversation. But, Tony, everybody's talking about Iran. What's going on in Iran? Price of gasoline starts to go down. But what say you about what's going on in Iran?
Well, that's a very interesting question, because a lot of people are looking at Iran as an isolated incident happening. And they're also looking at Venezuela as the same way. And I can tell you that, talking with a lot of Democrats, they're very upset at what's going on, but they're not looking at the bigger picture. We were talking the other day, and the bigger picture is actually China. It's China and Russia. There's 2 major foes. And this is more of a geopolitical war fighting that we're actually doing, to where we have to do certain things to prevent a larger, more scalable war down the road. And what you're seeing is more working through the economics, be able to control the oil, be able to control what is happening in the world, to kind of squeeze China and force them not to push any further. And we got critical things we're looking at. One, China was getting oil on the cheap, let's just call it that, from Iran and Venezuela. That was helping them fund everything they were wanting to do with the incursions going towards Taiwan. And then you look at Taiwan, very interesting. All the major semiconductors are being manufactured. And it's about 90% of semiconductors worldwide are coming out of Taiwan. And when we start looking at what Donald Trump is trying to do, he's trying to prevent a larger war that was obviously escalating, definitely through the Biden years, with China moving and encroaching on different parts of the United States and also different parts of South America. And I tip my hat off to Donald Trump, because he is actually 5 steps ahead, and we got to look at the bigger picture. And when we start seeing who's going to be controlling the waterways and also the oil around the world, actually having the influence of that, it's going to be the United States. It's not going to be a China. It's not going to be a Russia. And that is the bigger picture where everyone's missing. And I will say this, that you're going to start seeing, I know that Iran came in today and said they're closing the Strait of Hormuz. Frankly, with what? We pretty much decimated their whole Navy. They fired some rockets across the bow of some tankers. But, it's just going to take the United States to go in there and take out the rest if need be. The Strait of Hormuz is going to be open. It's going to be. Trump is going through the process of trying to work with the Iranian government, whatever's left, or whoever is the fifth tier now of the Iranian government, and give them a chance. I don't think there's going to be anything with boots on the ground, and already certain countries like UAE have already said that they're willing to do anything that's needed to do and follow Trump's lead, as long as the United States takes the lead with this.
Wow. But Tony, my thing is that it seems, is it me, or is like the mainstream media just talking about uranium enrichment? Are we trying to cut off the oil supply, or are we trying to prevent Iran from enriching uranium?
So I'll tell you this: it's a kind of twofold thing. You look at what's happening with Iran. Iran should never be a superpower as far as having any nuclear weapons. They've already said they're going to death to America and death to Israel right off the bat. And people keep saying that. I want to make this clear to you, because a lot of people keep saying that the United States is just taking the lead of what Israel wants, and that's 100% not the case. Donald Trump has used the situation that's happening in Iran to be able to do what he needs to do, which is ultimately ensure that Iran has no capability of being a nuclear power. He said that in the 80s about Iran, them having their encroachment and what they did, during Jimmy Carter. He's mentioned what Iran is doing in the 80s. He hasn't changed his tone. And frankly, he's the first president to actually do something in Iran. I mean, a lot of presidents went in there and said bold words, but it was backed up with nothing. He was the first president to actually come in there. And now to have the backing of many countries around, the surrounding countries like UAE, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, these countries are on board with what's happening. They realize that an Iran has nuclear capabilities is not anyone's friend in that region. Iran is clearly against anything Western, and some of these countries are moving more towards Western, so they become an adversary. They're not, and Iran is naturally a threat to them. So when we start looking at Iran and having nuclear capabilities, that was a reason, and a very good reason to go in. But People like to say that Trump is playing, 3D chess. He's thinking a couple moves ahead. And frankly, that's exactly what he's doing. He's looking at this as a long-term solution to multiple aspects. One, you had a complete level of genocide of its own people, just a couple months back that nobody was talking about really. It wasn't really getting the same news media of what the Iranian government were doing to the people that were just standing up and asking for freedom. Nobody was doing that except Donald Trump.
Tony, hold that thought. We'll be right back. This is 75 Radio on Liberty News Radio Network. Take it away, boys.
Get ready to be part of something incredible. We're breaking barriers and delivering the powerful stories that mainstream media won't touch. Your support is what fuels our mission to revolutionize journalism and bring you the truth. Join our passionate community of changemakers by donating at libertynewsradio.com today. Together, we're creating the future of news.
Why don't we say to the government writ large that they have to spend a little bit less? Anybody ever had less money this year than you had last? Anybody ever having a 1% pay cut? You deal with it. That's what government needs, a 1% pay cut. If you take a 1% pay cut across the board, you have more than enough money to actually pay for the disaster relief. But nobody's going to do that because they're fiscally irresponsible. Who are they? Republicans. Who are they? Democrats. Who are they? Virtually the whole body is careless and reckless with your money. So the money will not be offset by cuts anywhere. The money will be added to the debt, and there will be a day of reckoning. What's the day of reckoning? The day of reckoning may well be the collapse of the stock market. The day of reckoning may be the collapse of the dollar. When it comes, I can't tell you exactly, but I can tell you it has happened repeatedly in history when countries ruin their currency.
Are you watching what's happening in our country and asking, what can I do? Join the John Birch Society in Salt Lake City, June 6th, for a powerful one-day conference. The day includes a host of respected speakers, 2 meals, and meaningful connections. You'll gain clarity on the issues and walk away with practical steps you can take to your community. Reserve your seat today at jbs.org/SLC26. That's jbs.org/SLC26.
You're back, and Scoop is just getting done staring at Danila's Instagram account. Here's more 7.5 Radio.
And we are back. Scoop Stanton with Walter Yerkew and our guest, Tony Sabio, who has a hell of a resume. Former hospital corpsman, former lawman, running for Congress. You know, he's a better version of Mike. So, Mike, if you're listening, you're fired. So, anyways, Tony's hit the ground running about what's going on with Iran. Tony, how do we win this situation in Iran? Because it's like, first the straits are open, now the straits are closed, now the straits are open and closed, and gas is going up and down, up and down, up and down. How do we beat Iran?
Well, I tell you, we've already beaten Iran. Trump is allowing them to do what, to save face. And come away with this, with some sort of government. There's never been a point right now that Trump has ever said that it's going to be boots on the ground. And frankly, it's not going to be boots on the ground. That doesn't serve the American people, and he's never even hinted towards that. But he's studying Trump and how he negotiates, which he is a phenomenal negotiator. He's the type of negotiator that's going to allow people to save some sort of face in the midst of everything. And he's going to allow them to do certain things. They did it today. And what he come out with is like, yeah, that's pretty funny what they're doing. It's cute. I think that's the word he used. But at the end of the day, they're not going to shut down that Strait of Hormuz. Right now, there are some tankers turned around because of a threat. But frankly, if you look at this, there is no Navy that is comparable to the United States Navy. we have shown within a couple of months our military strength. I mean, name one country that could shut down a city in anywhere in the world, shut them down, all electricity, coming in, being able to go into a fortified compound and pull out a person of interest without losing one person at all. I mean, that's military strength right there. And that goes deep into the intel that we get. And I worked in the intel community, and I understand all the hard work that we do and we put in. And it's phenomenal, the work that the men and women on the ground do to make these things happen. And then you look at what happened in Iran. You know, we did the first bombing going all the way through, being able to have our stealth bombers fly all the way from the United States, hit their targets, and then make it back. And then you see what happened recently, hitting key locations with airstrikes. And people really go into, well, you did lose a jet, you know, you lost 2 fighter jets and so on, as a failure in that aspect, but it isn't. You know, things happen like that. And yeah, every time I went into combat, doesn't matter how much training you have, you know, there's always a lucky shot that could take you out. And that happens. But even with that down pilot, what do? We show the strength of our rescue teams to be able to go in there and pull our American members out of harm's way. And you know what's one funny thing? I saw some posts on X that we would spend all this money for one person. And you know, that's what makes our military so strong. It's because our fortitude that we have, that no matter what, if we're mission driven, if we make a dedication towards something, we're going to follow through, and we're gonna have that military strength. So these incidents, these conflicts that we had, really has taken the United States into the forefront that we're back. Our military strength is better than any Chinese Timu type of missile systems or anti-aircraft. And it put Russia in check because, frankly, Russia was supplying Venezuela with all their military gear and technology, and we took that all down. So this is really showing where America lies as far as military strength. And frankly, it put us back, you know, as the world power and the only superpower, frankly, in the globe. And there's by far no other military that's be able to stand up to us.
Wow. Well, you got any questions or comments for our guest?
Well, no, just a couple of comments, Tony, and welcome to our little family. We when we beat Japan down back in the mid '40s, and they surrendered. They surrendered because Harry Truman, you know, blew the crap out of the island. Had they rescinded that surrender, I think Harry Truman would have made sure there was nothing left of Japan. In this case, I think Iran is very close to being eliminated with the nonsense that they pulled this morning when they started firing.
I agree. I agree. I think
so. Mr. Trump's handshake only goes so far. You shake his hand, even figuratively speaking, you shake his hand. You know, you have either an ally or an enemy, and he lets you know before you let go of his hand. To ignore that handshake, so to speak, is quite disturbing. It should be quite disturbing for the people of Iran. Apparently, the leadership in Iran doesn't give a rat's ass about its people. It only it only cares about itself and all the oil that they're sitting on right now because they haven't been able to transport any. So I think, you know, the next step is let them have it. drop a bomb, drop a big one. And how much leadership do they need to lose before they realize that they're just hanging on? It's like that fly that keeps messing with you when you're outside at a barbecue. You swat it, it goes away, it comes back. You swat it, it goes away, it comes back. Sooner or later you got to smash that damn thing so you can get on with your dinner. And I think that's what we need to do. We need to get on with our dinner and obliterate that country to the point where it's non-functional as far as hierarchy goes. And if we need to blow up all that oil, well, hell, whatever. There's a supply in the center of our earth that'll last forever. A couple of hundreds of thousands of millions of gallons of oil is going to affect the future of the world. That's for darn sure. We've proven that. And hey, I think it's almost time. The midterms are very close, as you well know. The midterms are very close. Trump does not want to create such a situation because there's so many people. It's not that they're against what's going on with Iran. They just believe the rhetoric, from the far left. So, uneducated voters is a dangerous voter. And I think Mr. Trump needs to just drop the hammer and whatever comes on November 3rd comes. But I don't mind dying knowing that my grandchildren will be okay. Mm-hmm. And their children and their children, for the next 200 years. I don't mind dying knowing that they're going to be okay. And right now, it's a mess. You have all these presidential candidates before they became president, presidential candidate in Kamala Chameleon, presidential candidate Hillary Clinton. They all said the same thing. Iran is our adversary. I will attack Iran if they attack Israel. I will attack them. That's what all they said. All of them said. Obama. They all said it. Now, they're treating Donald Trump like he's a spoiled brat, which is a shame. And when you mention it to a far left winger and show them the videos and the old films of Obama and Hillary and the chameleon, they don't want to believe it. They don't want to believe it. So it's time, Tony. It's time to become number one again in the world. And if we have to control 50% of the world's oil, well, let's do it. Let's do it.
You hit the nail on the head with what's going on over here. And let me go a little bit deeper than this. The RGC, they are a jihadi movement. That's plain and simple. They do not represent all of, don't represent the Persian people. And they don't represent the majority of sitting in countries such as Saudi Arabia, UAE, and all those other countries. And so you're looking at a very in-depth, very entrenched jihadi movement. And trust me, I spent my time of going after and fighting Al-Qaeda and ISIS and trying to neutralize them. What they're doing is more of the biblical sense of a caliphate. And that is exactly where we're headed now, because they're not going to back down until that regime is actually out of there and it's actually overthrown by the people.
All right, folks. Stay tuned. We're already halfway through the show. We'll come back.
How would you like to help this program reach more people and earn silver at the same time? Call or text 801-669-2211 for complete details.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Mary Rose. A series of reported tornadoes has torn through the Midwestern U.S., ripping roofs off homes and leaving roads impassable. National Weather Service meteorologist Mark Chenard says more bad weather is in the forecast.
So there is a threat of some severe weather today. Greatest chances farther east, so portions of, say, West Virginia, Ohio, Pennsylvania, most at risk today. But it's not expected to be as widespread or as significant as what we saw.
Officials in Illinois, Wisconsin, and Minnesota have expressed relief that the storms did not result in loss of life. In Wisconsin, homes were damaged and residents were trapped in basements. Minnesota saw at least 30 homes damaged. The standoff over the Strait of Hormuz has quickly escalated again as Iran reversed its reopening of the crucial waterway and fired on ships attempting to pass in retaliation after the U.S. pressed ahead with its blockade, choking off Iranian ports. Pressure on Iran's finances continues to squeeze Tehran. Correspondent John Scott has the details.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is touting a new U.S. economic offensive against Iran, exploiting Gulf nations' new willingness to expose and freeze Iranian regime bank assets after recent attacks. The measures, part of Operation Economic Fury, include expanded sanctions targeting Iranian oil reserves, IRGC leadership, and terror proxy funding networks.
Oil prices dropped back to where they were in the early days of the Iran war, and U.S. stocks raced to another record on Monday. The S&P 500 leaped 1.2% Friday after Iran said the Strait of Hormuz is open again for commercial tankers carrying crude. The Dow Jones Industrial Average leaped as many as 1,100 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
You know, life moves fast. Staying sharp, focused, and clear-headed isn't always easy. That's why the same company that brings you Relief Factor has developed something brand new, Think Factor. Think Factor is made to help you think clearer and perform better daily. It's a powerful blend of nutrients that unlocks mental clarity and precision, nurtures your memory, boosts your attention. With Think Factor, brain power and performance finally meet for lasting daily results. Supercharge your memory, mental sharpness. Your brain is your most valuable asset, powering your creativity, focus, and daily performance. If you're feeling mentally foggy, give it a try. After a couple of weeks of taking Think Factor, it was a game changer for me. Look, the longer you take Think Factor, the better it works for you. If you've ever thought you want to be more clear, more focused, call 800-4-RELIEF. 800, the number 4-RELIEF, or visit ReliefFactor.com to learn more and order Think Factor. Your first bottle is just $19.95. Think Factor. Think clearer, perform better daily. Call 800-4-RELIEF or visit ReliefFactor.com for Think Factor.
Attention collectors and savvy investors. We are excited to announce a momentous evolution in our journey. Introducing Free Water Coin Company, formerly known as Rust Coin and Gift. This rebranding takes us back to the very roots of where it all began, Free Water, Oregon. It's a tribute to the legacy of Al Rust and a celebration of 3 generations of dedication to excellence in the world of coins and precious gifts. Al, Brian, and Jake Rust standing strong through 64 years of service. Discover a world of exceptional service at Free Water Coin Company, your premier destination for genuine, honest money and precious gifts. Under Brian's expert guidance, Free Water Coin Company, building on the legacy of Rust Coin and Gift, continues its tradition of trust and excellence. Visit us at our Provo, Utah location. Explore our treasures online at freewatercoinco.com or call us at 801-377-1574. Free Water Coin Company, where your future is built one honest coin at a time.
Introducing Managed IT Services from NPI. We offer top-notch data backup and recovery, email spam protection, and network security tailored to your needs and budget. With 20-plus years of experience in the medical field, our HIPAA-certified consultants know what it takes to protect sensitive information. Don't settle for less. Give us a call at 801-706-6980 and experience the difference with Managed IT Services. Remember, your IT support should be fast, efficient, and reliable.
Introducing PrepStartsNow.com, your ultimate guide to readiness and peace of mind. We offer practical preparedness tools, training, and education to take your family's household readiness to the next level. Browse the prep shop for essential products, check out our planning guides, and stay informed with our prep blog. Visit PrepStartsNow.com and subscribe to our emails for exclusive offers, new products, and future events. Remember, preparedness begins with PrepStartsNow.com.
you're still listening, here's more 7-5 Radio.
And we are back. Scoop Stanton with Walter Yerkew and our guest, Tony Sabio. He's a better version of Mike Raybrand because he doesn't suffer from explosive diarrhea and he doesn't smoke raccoon poop. But Tony was just absolutely hitting the nail on the head with the analysis of Iran. But, gentlemen, since we're already halfway through and I want to bring on some of the guests here at the party, Tony, you want to talk about what's going on in Virginia with the redistricting since you are running for Congress?
Yeah. This redistricting. You know, I just had a town hall debate forum with two Democrats up there. And the whole message was the typical things you see on TV. We got to save democracy. You know, this is about stopping Trump and Trump's overreach. And the debate actually went well because every time they threw out one of those nice little talking points, I had my counters ready to go and shifted right back to what you're actually not doing for Virginia. But let's talk about this redistricting. You know, you're taking the 8th district, which is inside the Beltway. That's Alexandria, Arlington, McLean, Annandale, and Falls Church. And you're taking that area and now shifting it to stretch from Alexandria all the way down to close to Norfolk, Virginia, 140 miles. That is pure disastrous. There's no way that any person can represent 140 miles. And considering that, you know, your representative is supposed to understand what your wants and needs are in your region. There's no way. What people want and need in Alexandria and Northern Virginia is completely different from Norfolk. And they're missing the mark with this. But they actually admitted what they're trying to do. What they're trying to do is do something better for the party, not for the state. And that's a disservice. Now, when I look at this, you know, my job is to serve the people and not the country. As a House representative from Virginia, I'm elected to represent them. For me, it doesn't really matter what's happening in Arizona, California, South Dakota. It doesn't matter. What matters to me is the people of Virginia. And this is a disservice. This is actually taking their representation away in Congress and not adding to it. So we see these signs that says, you know, vote yes to save democracy. You know, you're actually not saving democracy. You're actually creating a party power that's going to control the narrative of every state through something called the DNC. And that is the saddest thing we're seeing because a lot of people are seeing actually what they write on there. You know, this is a chance to save democracy, save freedom. In reality, it's the exact opposite. It's taking it away. And what I was at the polls earlier today and seeing a lot of people, and I can tell you this, they're going to have a rude awakening. And at one particular place, you had a GOP tent, you had a walkway where people just walk right by, and right on the other side was the Democrat tent. And I was there, and we're gathering our petition signatures to get on the ballot. And I talked to about a dozen Democrats because I never asked what they are. They're just walking by and passing my palm cards. And I just start talking to them about what's more important, the most important things for them. And I had 12 of them sign my petition. Every single Democrat that I spoke with signed my petition. And the Democrats seeing this. That's why, because I'm talking about common sense. You know, when you talk about common sense, there's more people in the Democratic Party that are just sick and tired of the far left. What we need to do is hone in on that. We need to concentrate on talking with them about the issues that matter most to them. And I guarantee, like I talk to a lot of people, you know, about 80 to 90% we could agree on. About the 10 to 20% that maybe we not agree on, but we could probably get to some collaboration on the right solution. And I think, honestly, this is going to have a bad effect for the Democratic Party. And I'm seeing things looking very positive, but nevertheless, you know, if you're hearing my voice right now, go out and vote on Tuesday. Let's not let off the gas, because we don't know the length of the Democratic Party and what they're going to do to try to do anything to make sure that this happens. Like Donald Trump said when he ran, let's make this too big for them to cheat. And that's the only fear that we have right now, because I'm seeing a lot of people that are changing their minds, that don't like this referendum. They feel that it's taking people's votes. And frankly, it's ridiculous that, you know, a member of Congress has to cover 140 miles to just represent their constituents.
Right. Tony, I was thinking, if this ballot initiative passes, which I hope to God it won't, I, for one, went to the county office building today and voted no. What would that mean for you running in the 8th district? Would things change, or would it still be a regular primary? And then if you did win the primary, a regular election against the Democrat opponent?
Well, yeah, that's so. This whole thing changed everything around. So, yes, they pushed this bill to go through in Richmond, and frankly, they had to change the whole election just for this 1 year. And so the primary now, instead of it being naturally in June, and then you get July, August, September, October, November for the election, the primary goes all the way up until August 4th. So I really don't know who I'm actually running against on the Democratic side, because Don Beyer is being challenged. And I tell you, I had two people on that stage with me that were more progressive than Don Beyer. And if you're listening to this and you hear that, Don Beyer not being progressive enough, or not following the Democrat, talking points enough, I tell you this, that they're looking to remove him from office, because you had people on that stage that are even more progressive, that doesn't think Don Beyer is doing enough. And that's a scary thought. But you start looking at, this referendum, it goes through, say it goes through, and we have to deal with this. How am I able to run a race when, primary goes until August 4th, you don't know exactly who you're running against until August 4th. And then after that, it's in 45 days, early voting starts in Virginia. So you're really pinpoint targeting whoever you're running against on the Democratic side in 45 days. It's almost impossible to do. So our strategy now is we're running against the Democratic machine, plain and simple. I don't believe there's any Democratic candidate that actually has a plan to go through. And what we're doing now is really going after moderate the moderate Democrats and the independents out there. We're the only candidate. I'm the only candidate that actually has 5 bills ready to go on day one. Dealing with energy, with really lowering our costs, dealing with creating new jobs, a new ecosystem of jobs here in Northern Virginia. 3 bills dealing with small business to get grants and loans for small business so they can scale and grow, workforce programs for small business so they can get the skilled workers they need to expand. And one of the things that I looked at, I developed a bill, small business protection bill. So when Congress plays games and shuts down government for 45 days, the small business don't get hurt. And let's really explore that. I was a federal employee, so I understand furloughs. But after 45 days, 30 to 45 days, you get your back pay back. And it was a running joke like, oh, look, I got a 30-day vacation. Because you're going to get your money back. But do you know who doesn't get money back? Is a small business. Because when I was furloughed, I just stopped spending money. I retracted. I didn't go out. My wife didn't get her hair and nails done for a while. But those small business, the backbone of our country, backbone of Northern Virginia, they're still having to pay their mortgage, they're having to pay their lights, they're having to pay their employees still. And are they ever going to recoup 30 to 45 days of lost revenue? No, they can't. And imagine doing it 2 times in a row within, a 6-month span. That's why these businesses go out of business. That's why they have to shut down. And this bill would trigger day one, if there's a shutdown, it will provide grants and low interest loans. It will allow for payroll tax deferrals, tax credits, so we can actually help them out. And the other bill I want to pass through is I actually want to pass a bill that if the government shuts down, anyone in Congress and Senate don't receive a pay either. We get furloughed ourselves. But yet we're going to have to work until we pass the bill or end the shutdown, but we're not going to get paid.
All right, when we come back, we'll finish up the show with me, Walter, and Tony. Stay tuned, everybody.
Former Sheriff Richard Mack recounts in his book The Proper Role of Law Enforcement, how he came to realize while working as a beat cop how wrong the all-too-common orientation of police officers is when they think of their job as being to write tickets and arrest people. Richard Mack tells of his personal transformation from by-the-number cop to Constitution-conscious defender of citizen safety and freedoms. Learn what it really means to serve and protect. Purchase your copy at cspoa.org. That's cspoa.org.
You know where the solution can be found, Mr. President? In churches, in wedding chapels, in maternity wards across the country and around the world. More babies will mean forward-looking adults, the sort we need to tackle long-term, large-scale problems. American babies in particular are likely going to be wealthier, better educated, and more conservation-minded than children raised in still industrializing countries. As economist Tyler Cowen recently wrote, quote, "By having more children, you're making your nation more populous, thus boosting its capacity to solve climate change. The planet does not need for us to think globally and act locally so much as it needs us to think family and act personally. The solution to so many of our problems, at all times and in all places, is to fall in love, get married, and have some kids."
Are you watching what's happening in our country and asking, what can I do? Join the John Birch Society in Salt Lake City, June 6th, for a powerful one-day conference. The day includes a host of respected speakers, 2 meals, and meaningful connections. You'll gain clarity on the issues and walk away with practical steps you can take to your community. Reserve your seat today at jbs.org/SLC26. That's jbs.org/SLC26.
This is 7-5 Radio with Walter Yuku. Walter Yurkow. Walter Kiwi. Here's Walton Scoop.
All right, we are back with myself, Walter Yurku, our guest, Tony Sabio, and our returning guest, the great Dan Ruttenberg. How's it going, Dan?
Back by popular demand.
Yep. But anyways, real quick, Tony, you've been a hell of a guest tonight. This is the last segment. We're at Ana Estevez's party, so we're just going to let it fly. But before we let it fly, number one, I can't thank you enough for coming, for having you on. Number two, we will have you back. Number three, how can people get in touch with you, sir?
Sure. They can go to my website, Sabio4FORcongress.com. Over there, they can see everything we're trying to push through, all these bills, and how we're going to save people money, and we're going to return this country to a unity and bring people back together. And also, they can reach up on, they can look up on X, Tony_Sabio. If they have any questions, reach out right there.
Okay, so that's Sabio4Congress.com?
Yes.
All right, that's SABIO, the number 4 Congress.com. Anyways,
no, F-O-R. It's F-O-R.
Oh, it's Sabio F-O-R Congress. Those with my last name, it's Sabio F-O-R Congress.com. Anyways, Tony, I hope you do come back. Walt, what do you think of our guest so far? And be honest. Yay or nay, or does he suck at trash? Say what?
Luck in the midterms. I wish some good luck in the midterms. We need some fresh voices and eyes helping out.
Right, outstanding. But, all right, Tony, now the real reason why everybody listens to 7.5 Radio, I got Ana Estevez with her trying to take a picture of her leg sitting on my lap, and I got the great Dan Ruttenberg sitting to my left. So
Whoop, whoop.
This is 7.5 Radio. Anyways, Ana, how's it going tonight?
Oh my God, I love my friends, and I love that everybody's here. Although that this situation is very bad for us immigrants, but it's still good.
But your birthday party's awesome.
But immigrants are dead here.
But we're not talking. All right, we're not
But
talking.
your birthday party's awesome.
But Anna, say hi to Walter. He's on the line.
Hi, Walter. Oh my God, Walter! Oh my God, Walter! I love you. I want to hear you. Walter.
Hold on.
Walter.
Happy birthday.
Oh my God, can I hear Walter?
Yeah. Happy birthday.
Walter.
Yeah,
You
I'm
know
right
you're
here,
my
honey.
love.
Yes, I know. Yes, I know. You're my love too. You're my little Latino.
I think there's wedding bells.
Yeah. Ding
right.
dong.
Oh my Lord. Walter, please
Yes,
talk
sweetie.
to me.
Oh, well, I'm so happy that you're having a good birthday. You deserve. You
Hold on,
deserve
I'm
a lot of friends, and you
hold
have
on.
a lot of friends.
He's wishing you a happy birthday. All right, I'll give. You can text Walter. Anyways, Dan, how's it going?
Oh, I'm good. I had a great day today.
Outstanding. You had a great day last week.
Well, last week was a special day. Last week was a special day, but today was fantastic too.
Why was today fantastic?
I had a lesson in boating, so I'm learning to drive my yacht. I had my second boating lesson. It went really well. It was beautiful conditions, and then came home. My daughter was having a pool party at my house, and my goddaughter was there, and it was so wonderful spending time with them. They're such beautiful, wonderful people. And now I'm here celebrating a birthday party with the lovely Luciani. Look at her.
Hello.
Hey, Luciani, what's going on?
Beautiful people. I love these people.
Outstanding. Well, you look absolutely wonderful. It's great to be here. The whole family's here. Dan's here. Dan, last week you were awesome. You said, we're walking over to the hotel. He said, what are we going to talk about? Whatever you want. And you hit it out of the park. And actually, you have a better radio voice than me. I'm like, damn.
Thank you very much.
So, anyways,
Look, you say whatever you want to talk about, but Scoop's like that. He's like, hey, whatever you want. And then he interviews you, and he asks you these poignant questions. It leads you down a path that makes you're a fucking fantastic interviewer. You're like, hey, talk about whatever you want. And then you're like, so what do you think about this, though? You literally are like, okay, but let me ask you this. So, no, you're a fantastic interviewer, Scoop.
Outstanding. But,
Kissing your butt, but it's true.
Right. Well, but did you have anything you wanted to say last week or this week about anything?
In particular?
Yeah, because last week I was like, as we're walking across to the hotel, I was like, I don't know what we're going to talk about. I better think of something.
I didn't know. I mean, that's the first time on your show.
Right.
And I did not know what to expect. And it was, by the way, a lot of fun.
Right.
I had so many people tell me they listened to it and they loved it. And there a lot of my friends who actually were there, and they're like, where did Dan go? And they're like, oh, wait, Dan's doing a radio show and in the middle of his party, which was very cool. Very cool.
Right.
So it was a lot of fun. And a lot of my daughter's friends were there, and they all listened to it. And they loved the show, so it was. I got a lot of attention. Let's put it that way.
Outstanding. Now, did they just love your segment or the entire show?
They didn't. I mean, look, they commented on my segment. I didn't ask them necessarily about the whole. I mean, I didn't even listen to the whole show. But.
Well, put it this way: one of us had a little too much fun. It's not you and it's not Walter, but after you left, I'm like, oh boy, now what are we going to do? But we still traveled, we still plowed through it, and like I always say, thank God for Walter because he is the rock that's 7.5 Radio. If you listen to the birthday show, we got shut down. Ed Hubner's about to beat the brakes off somebody. I'm too busy taking pictures with Danila, and Walter, my co-host Mike, they're running the show.
When are you talking about? Tonight?
No. My birthday in November.
Oh, okay.
I'll show you the pictures. It was something else. But anyways, we're having a great time here at Old Town Alexandria.
Where are we again?
Someplace Old Town Alexandria. Anyways, Tony, what do you think of the show so far?
It's fantastic. It's exactly what America's all about. Just talking about the current issues. Obviously there's people on your side over there have some good cocktails and frosted cold ones over there. That's what it's all about. And if we could do more of this in Congress, just have a beer and drink and talk about these issues, we could probably get more done over there.
So what have you guys been talking about all day?
We were talking about the situation in Iran. Our guest, Tony, he's prior Navy, prior Central Intelligence, knows a lot of stuff, telling about what's really going on in Iran. It's anyways, we're trying to stop Russia in trying to get the oil.
Well, all I can tell you is I've been amazingly impressed. I know there's a lot of people that are just want to criticize the U.S. because they want to criticize the U.S., but it's been amazing. It's almost like a miracle how well this has gone, and I think we're in such a transformative time right now. And yes, there's a little bit of pain, like some oil prices that have been high, but oh my God, I'm so hopeful for where this world will be on the other side of this. I really have such optimism, and it just seems like so many things are on the verge of being wonderful. Like peace in the Middle East. I believe we are so close to a new world order of peace. And that's phenomenal. And I hope we can do it. And anyone that's rooting against us, I can say F you. I can't say the actual word, but I'll say that. And if you're rooting against the U.S., and there's too many people that are, there's something wrong with you.
Well, Dan, first of all, you already dropped the F-bomb. Thank you. Tony, any comment? Yeah.
Sorry.
Any comments real quick?
No, I have to agree with Dan on those things. We are on the verge. We have the Abraham Accords coming through, and it was stopped because what happened in Gaza, Hamas, which is clearly led by Iran, to put that all together for them. Because once you start having these countries start working with Israel, it changes the whole region. It brings peace over there. It unifies area under common goals of just economic cooperation, peace through the region, ending these wars, ending this tension. And then you have Iran sitting over there by themselves, and we're seeing what we're going to be doing, or what we're doing now is going to lay the groundwork for a future out there that's going to save lives. And that's what this is about, and what Trump is doing. He is saving lives by ending future wars, by dealing with the problem right now.
Well, and I'll say this, and this is what people don't appreciate, that if we can get the world to a point where the countries in the Middle East accept Israel, they're not going to be attacking America. Israel is the first line. If they're not going to attack Israel, they're not going after America. They want Israel first, and if they come in and all these countries finally accept and acknowledge Israel's right to exist and stuff, we don't have to worry about ourselves anywhere near as much. How people don't get that is beyond my comprehension.
Anyways, for Walter Yerkew, Dan Ruttenberg, Tony Sabio, this is Peter Scoot. Dan, reminder you can make a difference.
I got played
Go out
off.
and make it. You got played off. Yep, bye.
James Edwards for 7-5 Radio. For those who work the streets and the jails, thanks for keeping us safe. So long, everybody.